So what do you think of when you hear the word carbohydrate? If you're like most people, you'll believe that carbohydrates make you fat, right? Carbohydrates are terrible for you, right? This is the message that's being spread like wildfire today, and more than ever now we're bombarded with all of this low-carb dieting, avoid the carbs because the carbs make you fat. And if you go on this low-carb diet, you will lose all kinds of weight, and that's the way to go about it. So, with all of this low-carb dieting, with all of this carbohydrate fear-mongering, I decided just to clear up the confusion, because nobody needs to be confused anymore about carbohydrates. Basically, I put carbohydrates into two categories. Okay, you have good carbs and you have bad carbs. Now, the good carbs are the kinds that grow out of the ground, and that is fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, nuts, seeds. Plant foods have carbohydrates in them, and our body uses carbohydrates as the chief source for our energy needs. And fats actually require carbohydrates for the breakdown in the liver. So carbohydrates are an important fuel source for humans, and most societies on this planet throughout history have relied upon carbohydrate-rich plant foods to sustain and keep them healthy. And usually when people are talking about carbohydrates, usually they're going to be talking about the carbohydrates that are coming from processed and refined foods. Okay, so these are the bad carbohydrates, which is the next category. The good carbs come from whole foods, from plant food sources, and the bad carbs come from those same whole foods, but then they refine them and process them. And during this refining and processing, the food actually loses its nutrients, and they strip away its fiber, and it basically essentially becomes a dead food with no nutrition in it, and they're very addictive, and the manufacturers know that. That's why they refine and process them the way they do, because it makes them really addictive. See, nobody's addicted to bananas, nobody's addicted to carrots, nobody's addicted to vegetables, fruits, and whole grains and beans. But people are addicted to potato chips, to donuts, to cookies, to cakes, to white bread. A lot of these carbohydrate foods are refined and processed, and they have a lot of sugar added to it, they have a lot of salt added back in there, and then, to make it so-called healthy, they enrich these products, see, with synthetic vitamins and minerals. And the synthetic vitamins and minerals are not naturally occurring, okay? Because they already took those out when they refined and processed the original food. So they created all these synthetic vitamins and minerals and everything in this lab, and then added them back to the food. And basically deceiving the consumer into thinking that it's actually good for them, when in reality, it's not. It's terrible for you. So, you got good carbs and bad carbs. A lot of this is common sense. Ask yourself, what do you think is healthier, a banana or a Snickers bar? An apple or, some Skittles? A carrot or potato chips? A sweet potato or those French fries that they sell at McDonald's that are drenched in trans fats, which have been linked to heart disease? So, once you answer these questions, you'll come to the conclusion that, wow, we really do a lot of bad stuff to carbohydrate-rich foods. Maybe then, just maybe, that's the reason why so many people are getting fat and unhealthy by eating carbohydrates. So, what a lot of uneducated people like to do is take carbs and put them into one whole basket and say, see, carbs are bad. You shouldn't eat carbs because look at what these carbs do. But they don't differentiate between good carbs and bad carbs. You know, it's just like calories. There's good calories, there's bad calories. There's good fats, there's bad fats. And that's what I'm here to share with you guys and to teach you, is that there's actually good carbs and there's bad carbs. The good carbs come from whole plant foods, and the bad carbs come from those same plant foods but are refined and processed until essentially there's nothing good about those foods anymore. So, bottom line is, guys, is that if you're eating whole food carbohydrates from plants, okay, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, if you're eating these foods, there's no way that you're going to be fat and unhealthy unless you're consuming the bad carbs and you're consuming a lot of other unhealthy foods that lead to weight gain. Because, I mean, I consume a very rich carbohydrate diet myself in the form of lots of fruits, vegetables, you know, plant-based foods, and I'm really thin, you know, as you can see. There's no way that I could be this thin and this fit and healthy if carbohydrates were so bad for me. And again, you know, I'm not eating the bad carbs, I'm eating the good carbs. The ones that actually come from whole foods. Because the ones that come from whole foods have their vitamins, their minerals, you know, protein, has fat. It comes with a whole bunch of nutritional goodies, if you will. And those are the carbohydrates that people want to consume, because those carbohydrates, again, they come with all of this nutrition, and they come with fiber. Now, fiber is important because it helps to slow down the release of sugar into your bloodstream. And what a lot of times happens is they'll take a good carbohydrate, refine and process it, they'll remove the fiber, and then they add back all this other sugar and all this other stuff on top of it, so when you eat it, you don't get that fiber, and the sugar just rushes right into your bloodstream, and that sets you up for diabetes. That's not what you want. So you got to be really, you know, conscious and aware of the types of carbohydrates that you're actually eating. You know, no soda, no candy, no white flour. You know, these are refined and processed carbohydrates. They're no good. You want to focus on whole fruits, apples, berries, bananas, mangoes, peaches, you know, grapefruits, grapes, you name it. And then you got all the hundreds of different kinds of vegetables, you know, and then you got all the different kinds of whole grains like quinoa and millet and amaranth, you know. So, you know, don't have a fear of these good carbohydrates, because carbohydrates are what gives your body immediate energy. And a lot of times when people go on these low-carb diets, they start feeling sluggish, and they can't really concentrate that well. That's because your body functions with these carbohydrates, okay? Your brain, your eyes, your body needs those. Now, it is true that your body can run off proteins and fats if you want, but it's not the best type of fuel source. A lot of us have, you know, busy lifestyles. We want to have the energy to be able to do the things that we love. You know, if you have a job, if you're very physical, you need that good amount of energy. And you won't be able to think, concentrate, or do really anything if you don't have that type of energy available to you. So, bottom line is, guys, don't have this fear of carbohydrates. You know, there's like 1 billion people or whatever in Asia, and a lot of them eat rice, and they're really thin, a lot thinner than people in the Western world that are living off McDonald's, you know, Big Macs, soda, and all these other things like chips. So just stick to the basics, you know, rice, brown rice, you know, beans, fruits, veggies. These things will keep you slim, keep you healthy, give you the energy that you need, and you can melt body fat by choosing to eat good whole food-based carbohydrates. So with that, take care. If you like this video, please like, favorite, and subscribe. And please check out my article on Carbohydrate Fear on my blog. And you can go access that to the link down below in the description box. So thanks guys, and I'll catch you later. Bye.